And a good morning to you. Happy hump day this Wednesday, 25th day of July 2018. Eric Granstrom filling in for Dan Kuntz on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, along with my good friend and our news director here at the NCW Life Channel, Steve Hare. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. It was a long evening.
Yeah, long evening. Fire last night. Have we done a count on how many fires in this fire season?
Boy, I'll tell you what, we've had quite a few so far, and we're still not even midway through the fire season yet.
But again, it looks like firefighters did a great job of jumping on that fire quickly last night. We'll get more with news coming up, and also I think you can see in the Valley View camera just behind us here that it's a little smoky still in the valley. Yeah, smoke lingering there up the valley from last night's fire. Turtle Rock Fire is the official title of it. Is that right?
At this point in time, that's how we're referencing that fire again. Still burning, and we'll have more details coming up in the news on that.
All right, we'll have that for you coming straight ahead. Also, the latest in sports. We'll get a detailed look at your weather forecast as we get through this middle of the work week. And scheduled later on this hour, we are to have joining us Ryan McElvey, head coach, and Kyle Brody, the assistant coach for the Wenatchee Wild's youth programs. They have three different programs. They have the Wolves, the Wilderness, and the Wolverines.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. There's different age groups? Or?
Different age groups,
okay.
Yes. So they're expected to join us to talk about billet families. It's that time of year. Believe it or not, we're just around the season from the hockey season again for the Wenatchee Wild and their youth teams. So we'll talk more about that. Scheduled coming up this morning here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley from the Wenatchee Wild program. Also, a big traffic note today, closure of Highway 2 Tumwater Canyon.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
so truckers, be aware.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk more about that with our road discussion coming up. First, though, I think Kat might be back there and ready for a look around the Valley View cameras.
She's scooting around there on her chair.
I wonder if she has extra insurance for the chair scoot that goes on. It's a gorgeous morning, despite that smoke that we see on the horizon there. Absolutely gorgeous start to this Wednesday as we're at 68 degrees in the Wenatchee Valley, reaching up to the upper 90s again today. But our Valley View camera, of course, brought to you by Localtel's Sky-Fi as we look down upon the Wenatchee Valley from our cross camera this morning. The Columbia River, the Senator George Seller Bridge in the foreground there, the pedestrian bridge, the next one up, and you can just barely see the top end of the river there, the Otabashan Bridge.
That little waft of smoke you see there in the distance is coming from the Turtle Rock Fire.
Other than that, cloudless sky this morning. Speaking of Turtle Rock Fire, there is still some flames visible there as it continues to smolder through the brush on the hillside. That is just above Highway 2 and 97 in Douglas County near Turtle Rock. That's why we're calling it the Turtle Rock family as Kat zooms out on that camera. And this is our Arrondo Rock camera. So this is on the Douglas County side of the Columbia River looking towards the south, and that's where the smoke is coming from this morning. The highway, as you can see on the lower left-hand side of the screen, is open. It was not the case for quite a while last night.
I guess the best way to describe that fire behavior right now is it's creeping and smoldering. It's not really blazing
thankfully,
at this point.
knock on wood, no wind really to speak of here this morning, and none really in our forecast. So that's a quick peek at that. We'll tell you more about that with news with Steve coming up in just a few minutes. Let's go to camera 3 this morning as we say hello to Kashmir.
Oh, what a beautiful shot.
They call that camera our Apple Annie's camera as it's up on the hillside near Apple Annie's there, and a nice pan to the left as you see the Wenatchee River hidden in the shadows down to the lower right there. And we pan across looking at the foothills of the Cascades just outside of Kashmir and the Mission Creek area.
The packing sheds there.
Boy, what a gorgeous view that is. Looking and panning down towards the lower end of Kashmir, or the east end of Kashmir. And
you can see just how dry those hills are in the background, though.
Yeah, it was, I think, August back in 1989 that I came to the Wenatchee Valley for the first time. And being a kid that grew up in Western Washington, loving the green, the further east I came, I started getting more nervous about a possible job opportunity in this place called Wenatchee, where I'd never been before. And Cashmere was my last vestige of any green in the area hillside. So gorgeous view of Cashmere this morning. Thanks again to Sky-Fi camera view. Now, camera 4. Where are we going today? We're up at Chelan and taking a look down at Manson.
I don't know which camera this is.
I think that is... Oh, it's the water tower camera. Okay. I always found that formation of the rocks there, that Slide Ridge area that you see up in the distance, very interesting. I'd like to know geologically what is going on there, because that camera doesn't really give it a really good picture of how red that rock is. It looks like it's the hillside's rusting. So I don't know if there's ore that's in there, iron ore, that might be in that formation there, but I always found that very interesting. And I think they call that the Slide Ridge area, where they have a lot of problems with snowmelt and such, and problems on that North Shore roadway, or the South Shore roadway.
Probably just a result of some seismic activity eons ago.
Yeah, absolutely. As our area was carved thanks to Sky-Fi for the look around the valley this morning. Let's look at what we're expecting here weather-wise. As the National Weather Service says, this pattern will continue with hot temperatures and really not much wind to speak of, and
please, no wind.
High pressure. That's pretty much it. Not a lot of wind also, which is good news for firefighters. Winds today expected northwest 5 to 8 miles an hour is all. Sunny and hot, 98 for the high. Low tonight down to 68. Tomorrow we'll see again 98, 96, a little cooler on Friday, but then the weekend forecast again in the upper 90s for our area here in north central Washington, and specifically looking at the Wenatchee Valley. 107 was the record high for today. I was looking at the climatic data, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and you think about what the firefighters have to deal with out there on the fire lines, digging hand lines, and in that sweltering heat, our thoughts and prayers are with you out there, guys.
Absolutely. Make sure you stay hydrated. Now, as far as the traffic is concerned, we mentioned that Highway 2 and 97 was closed for a short time during that firefighting effort when it first began last night in the 8 o'clock hour. It is open this morning. Now, as far as construction is concerned, we've been talking about the road construction that's happening in downtown Wenatchee on the main thoroughfare through Wenatchee. That's Highway 285, I think is the official title of it. But the one-ways, basically, on Chelan and Mission, they're doing that project during the evening hours, so you're going to see some lane shifts and such. They also have some construction work that's happening on the north end of Wenatchee Avenue, so be prepared for some rough roadways in that vicinity.
I encountered that this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also the big news today as far as construction is concerned, they're replacing a culvert in Tumwater Canyon on Highway 2. It is closed. They started the closure this morning at 5 o'clock, going to go till about 5 o'clock this afternoon. The detour for car traffic for passenger vehicles is through Chumstick Highway and through Plain and go back around, but trucks, no trucks.
No, you got to take Blewett.
Yeah, so Blewett and Snoqualmie. So if you have travel plans to get to Western Washington, you might want to factor that in, because I'm sure Blewett and Snoqualmie Pass is going to be busier today with the shuffle of traffic that has to go from Highway 2 and Stevens Pass over to Snoqualmie Pass.
Yeah, I also noticed quite a large volume of traffic on Highway 297 in Douglas County this morning. I drove out to where the staging area was set up for the fire crews, but again, a lot of traffic going out that way, folks. So you may want to avoid it, because there's going to be a lot of fire traffic out there.
Yeah. So. And they asked also, and it's so dry, it is so tinder dry, that the natural instinct when you have a fire situation like that is you want to look, you want to watch, you want to see what's going on. But if you pull your car off to the side of the highway and you're in some grass, boom, guess what? You just started a new fire. Yeah. Because the catalytic converter and all the stuff underneath your engine, very hot, and it doesn't take much, and then suddenly, there it goes up the hillside. So be very, very careful. Be sure you watch where you're parking and things like that. And again, in the fire area, don't go there.
No.
No, go somewhere else or just watch it here on
Get
the
a good view
NCAA
from it
channel.
from 97A, as a matter of fact.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
go across the river.
Just be careful about that. Speaking of the fire and speaking of the latest news, we will have that for you next as we're at 10 minutes past the hour here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for this 25th day of July 2018. And our news brought to you by Cascade Medical. Train with a physical therapist who loves the outdoors as much as you do. Cascade Medical, partners in your health.
The physical therapists at Cascade Medical love the outdoors as much as you do. But sometimes where there's love, there's also pain. Let us help you get back to the activities that you love. Cascade Medical, partners in your health.
Join me for Life with Lisa Bradshaw on NCW Life. It's not about my life, it's about yours.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
And here we are on a Wednesday, July 25th. Again, welcome back to the program. Our top story this morning is occurring right now, actually. Breaking news north of East Wenatchee along the US 297 corridor there. This is from last night from our Sky-Fi cam images of that fire burning just across the highway from Turtle Rock. Crews, in fact, this morning are preparing to attack that brush fire that swept up a hillside off the highway in the Turtle Rock area last night. But the highway has been reopened after it was closed for 2 hours overnight. Firefighters from Douglas and Chelan counties responded along with state DNR crews. They're in their morning briefing now. Douglas County Sheriff Kevin Morris reports no immediate threat to homes or other structures.
Well, last night the roads were closed for a period of time. They have been opened back up. The brief is at 6 this morning. My understanding is they are going to start aerial operations sometime this morning. Around the Fire and Fire District 2 are the two agencies right now that are on scene, and no structures or other roads are threatened at this time.
So that's good news for now. The cause of the fire is not known at this time. It appears to have started near the highway and then raced up the steep slope, burning mostly brush and grass. There were some unconfirmed reports of some sparks from a transformer in that general area, but again, there is no official cause of that fire yet. It's still under investigation. Again, there's no estimate yet on the size of the fire acreage-wise, but we should have more after this morning's briefing to share with you. Crews have been staging at the DNR Work Center in the Baker Flat Industrial Park. Again, as you heard Sheriff Morris say, they're going to be starting their aerial operations, which means bucket drops. They will be accessing water from the Columbia River, which is a popular place right now for boaters given the heat. So you want to stay clear of those areas where the helicopters are accessing the river for their water buckets. Meanwhile, in other news this morning, the Grant County Sheriff's Office reports 2 men were injured Saturday night at the Fish concert at the Gorge Amphitheater near George. 46 and 38-year-old victims were injured after being struck by rocks that were thrown at the concert for some reason. The 2 men were assaulted at about the same time Saturday night, one near the stage, the other near the top of the grass seating area. Neither victim could identify their assailant. The men did not know each other, according to the sheriff's report. Both victims were treated at area hospitals for head injuries. One of the men remains hospitalized in stable condition, while the other man was treated and released. Again, the Grant County Sheriff's Office asking for any information you might be able to share with them anonymously. Their phone number is 509-762-1160. 3 people injured in a Tuesday pre-dawn crash near the BB Bridge in Douglas County. Shot of it here from Orondo Fire Chief Jim Ote, who said it happened just prior to 3 a.m. Tuesday morning. on US 97 when a passenger vehicle was found laying upside down in the northbound ditch with severe damage. There were 3 occupants of the car, the driver identified as Isela Diaz Lorenzano, and 3 children. The driver and one of the children were treated at the scene and then transported to Lake Chelan Community Hospital. State Trooper Brian Moore says Diaz Lorenzano lost control of the vehicle after she fell asleep at the wheel. Chelan County Commissioners have agreed to help the Port District with funds to complete construction of 2 new industrial buildings in Kashmir. The Port had requested a 0.09% share of the funds the county receives from the state for economically distressed counties. Commissioner Kevin Overbay explains.
And they're looking to put up 2 buildings there. They have some letters of interest with regards to moving up some businesses into those locations. And so they actually were running about $500,000 shy of what they needed to do that, and came and made the ask to the Board of County Commissioners for that funding to come out of the Distressed Counties funding. And when we looked at the proposals, trying to understand the economic development benefits that would come from that, from those 2 structures, then in fact we went ahead and agreed to go ahead and do that and provide that funding.
Now, Commissioner Keith Gaynor said the mill site property has great economic development potential for the city of Kashmir and the county as a whole.
Primarily, I think what's important about this is getting that property productive again. And there's been a lot of work that's gone into the cleaning up the property, getting it saleable and usable. So once they get these 2 buildings up, there will be an opportunity for businesses to get established and then eventually expand.
A little bit more on that property. It's a 32.5-acre site. The Kashmir Mill property was used primarily for lumber milling from the 1940s until late 1970s. Various commercial and light industrial businesses occupied the property in the 1980s and 1990s prior to the Chelan County Port District's acquisition. U.S. Department of Agriculture announced yesterday a $12 billion plan to assist farmers who have been hurt by trade disputes with China and other trading partners. The Agriculture Department said the proposal would include direct assistance for farmers, purchases of excess crops, and trade promotion activities aimed at building new export markets. Officials said the plan would not require congressional approval and would come through the so-called Commodity Credit Corporation. It's a wing of the department that addresses agricultural prices. Agricultural officials said the payments could not be calculated until after the harvest comes in. U.S. Highway 2 through parts of Tumwater Canyon closed until late this afternoon as Chelan County work crews installed new culverts in that location. Here's a map of it. The highway will be closed from Coles Corner to Leavenworth until 5 p.m. Traffic being detoured onto Chumstick Highway, so plan on additional traffic throughout the day, at least passenger vehicles. Trucks are not allowed on that detour. In fact, no vehicles over 10,000 gross vehicle weight, no longer than 32 feet, will be allowed. Those large trucks should choose an alternate route using Snoqualmie Pass via Blewett Pass. Well, the Wenatchee Valley has made it to the top of another national best of lists. This time, the website MoneyWise has ranked Wenatchee as the most frugal and friendly place to retire in the United States. The Apple capital of the world ranks higher than 39 other communities around the country based on a variety of factors. The publication says, using their words, locals love the Wenatchee Valley with its river, natural beaches, parks, and unexpected desert landscapes. Given its natural surroundings, the city of Wenatchee is a paradise for outdoorsy types, offering nearby opportunities for water sports, whitewater rafting, golfing, mountain biking, and skiing all in one place. The median home price, at least as noted by the publication at the time, was $262,000. It's climbed significantly since then. There are several well-regarded hospitals in town, according to the publication, with its 2 performing arts centers, local wineries, and open-air concerts in the summer. This city, Wenatchee, seems to have it all, but that's no news to us, is it, Eric?
No.
Absolutely not. Beautiful Wenatchee Valley, nice place to retire to, but hey, that's not in my lexicon. I'm sorry.
Retire?
Retirement,
Okay.
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So you're just going to be here until you just keel over? Is
Just
that the
keel
deal?
over, yeah, that's how it works.
Okay. Hopefully it doesn't happen live on the show. Okay?
What's the old saying, old radio guys never die, they just lose their frequency.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. 262,000. Now, when I used to work for the Wenatchee Valley Visitors Bureau with the Sports Council, we used to have travel writers come in. And sometimes those travel writers would come in, and it would take them quite a while to get published. So I have a feeling that may have been some stats that they had for something that they cooked up quite a while ago, and it finally got published. So the data is a little bit old on that.
And that's
one.
if you can find a house.
Yeah. And also, I'm still looking to see where they have all these beaches here in Wenatchee, too.
The only one I know of is across the river there at the dunes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beer Butt Beach, is that? I've heard it called many things. Oh, that one too. Okay. Yeah, we won't share that one, Kat. 68 degrees here in the Wenatchee Valley, reaching for a high of 98 today. Hey, I found my piece of paper that I was working on earlier here. We got up to 97 up at the airport yesterday.
Oh, really?
So it was a hot afternoon.
Not a record breaker, by
Not
any
a
stretch.
record breaker. The record for today, not 107, 102 set on this date in 1998. The record low, or the record cold temperature, 63 degrees. That was set in 1966. So there you go.
Weather.
Yes. Anything else?
At this point, no. I think it's time to move on.
No, I had something in my head and it just fell right out. Well, no, it's okay. We have sports news coming your way next. Mariners couldn't hold on to a lead last night and fell to the Giants in the first of a couple of games at Safeco Field. And that Oakland team will not go away.
No. It's going to come down to those last few weeks, I got a feeling.
Apple Sox had a rough night as well last night, committing another slurry of errors. We'll talk about that with sports. And I'm excited, Steve. Football season is officially here.
It is?
Yes, because the
season
Seahawks
tickets?
training camp starts today.
Tickets go on sale?
Tickets, yeah, they've been on sale for a little while for single game tickets. They actually sell tickets now to training camp, which I think is just an odd thing, because I go back to the day when it was in Cheney and you just walked up and watched.
Well, as far as the Seahawks are concerned, it's a transitional year for them, I got a feeling.
Yes, and we're going to talk more about that with sports coming up next as we continue on here for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for this 25th day of July 2018 at 22 minutes past the hour.
Wake
Sports
up.
news is coming up next.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Live Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Hare.
Catch us on Local Tel, Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Live channel.
Did you know that our pets can put on extra weight just like us? Obesity is the most common preventable disease in dogs and cats. Your pet's excess weight can lead to health issues like joint pain, arthritis, diabetes, high blood pressure, and more. Dr. Shauna Bayes and the staff at Paws and Claws Veterinarian Hospital care about your pets, and they can help you keep them lean and healthy. Call Paws and Claws today at 888-PAWS or find them on the corner 4th and Isle in East Wenatchee.
"23 minutes past the hour here for this Wednesday as we turn to sports here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel. Andres Sosa tied it in the 6th inning with a 2-run home run, and Austin Bell broke the tie in the 7th with a 2-run single. Cowlitz went on to defeat the Wenatchee Apple Sox last night by a final of 6-3 at Paul Thomas Senior Field. Wenatchee's Connor McCord was 3 for 5 with his 3rd home run in his last 4 days, so he's pretty hot right now, but not enough. Johnny Sage also had a good day at the plate. He went 3 for 4 with a run, and Jake Taylor hit his 4th home run of the season. So a little bit of offense there, but just not enough last night. Sox Hawks defense faltered behind starter Hunter Boyd, who went 6 innings. He allowed 3 runs on 4 hits. None of those were earned because of the 4 errors committed defensively. The two teams meet again tonight at 7:05 at Paul Thomas Senior Field. The Cowlitz Black Bears and the Wenatchee Apple Sox. Also in the West Coast League last night, as we open up the Les Schwab scoreboard, Austin Feist was 2 for 3 with a run and a couple of RBIs, as Corvallis scored 7 runs in the first 2 innings and held on to beat Kelowna by a final of 8-5. Davis, Bailey, and 3 other pitchers held Port Angeles to 1 run on 5 hits and struck out 13 batters in Bellingham's 6-1 win over the Lefties. Matt McLean led the way at the plate for the Bells. He went 2 for 4 with a grand slam home run in the 6th inning. Carson Brashears drove in 5 runs for Portland, and the Pickles 14-1 thrashing of Bend last night. 3 of the runs crossed the plate on Brashears' 3-run triple in the 8th inning. Jackson Fagg's 2-run home run highlighted a 5-run 3rd inning for Victoria as the Harbor Cats were able to upend Walla Walla by a final of 10-3. Turning to the West Coast League schedule for today, it starts at 6:30 for Corvallis hosting Kelowna. Bellingham hosts Port Angeles at 6:35. That's the same start time for Portland at Bend. Victoria hosting Walla Walla. Wenatchee, as mentioned, hosting Cowlitz at 7:05 tonight. And in a non-league game, Gresham travels to Yakima Valley. That game at County Stadium is at 6:35. Well, James Paxton was a scratch last night, still has a sore back, so he's still on the disabled list. Mariner bullpen couldn't hang on as the Mariners dropped one to San Francisco. 4-3 last night, the final at Safeco Field. With a game tied at 3 in the top of the 9th, it was Pablo Sandoval's RBI single off of Seattle closer Edwin Diaz that meant the difference. Guillermo Heredia delivered a home run for the Mariners offensively. Kyle Seager was 2 for 4 in the game. But it didn't matter much. The two teams play a day game today at Safeco Field at 1:10 this afternoon. Giants will send Derek Holland on the mound to face the Mariners' Mike Leake. They're going to check on James Paxton today, see if it's anything more severe than just soreness in his back. Turning to the Les Schwab scoreboard again for the American League West last night, Stephen Piscotty tied the game in the 9th, and Chris Davis delivered the game-winning 3-run homer in the 10th as Oakland came from 8 runs down, scored 11 unanswered, and beat Texas 13-10. Houston scored 6 runs in the 10th inning to shock Colorado 8-2 at Coors Field, highlighted by George Springer's 2-run home run. White Sox starter Carlos Rodon carried a no-hitter into the 6th inning of Chicago's 4-2 win against the Angels. He struck out 8 to earn the victory. So, yeah, again, the shrinkage for the Mariners in their lead in the wild card race continues as Oakland continues to edge up further and further, just a game and a half back at Seattle for the final wild card spot in the American League West, or the American League race. Seattle now 6 games behind Houston for first in the AL West. All right, we mentioned it. Seahawks training camp starts today at the VMAC in Renton. There have been many changes in the offseason, including the departure of Richard Sherman and Michael Bennett and Jimmy Graham, also the retirement of Cam Chancellor and Cliff Averill. Also, the demotion of Darrell Bevel, which a lot of people are happy about, from offensive coordinator, and the firing of Tom Cable as their line coach and co-head coach. They hired Brian Schottenheimer. Seahawks also hired Mike Solari, who used to be with the team back when Mike Holmgren was there. Pete Carroll has said one of the biggest reasons they brought Schottenheimer in as offensive coordinator is to challenge Russell Wilson. He says despite the success in Wilson's first 6 years of his career, Schottenheimer thinks that, Carroll thinks Schottenheimer can come in and press Russell Wilson to be even better. Also, for the first time since 2014, the Seahawks have an offensive line with, 5 of 6 returners that were going to probably be starting. That includes the tackles Dwayne Brown and Jermaine Ifedi. I don't know about Ifedi. Guard Ethan Posick and center Justin Britt. And from the looks of the offseason workouts, the other guard for the could be the former first-round pick DJ Fluker, whom the Seahawks signed in free agency. Also expected to be quite a battle at the running back position, wide receiver position, the tight end position, on the defensive line. A lot of questions to be answered for the Seahawks in training camp, which begins today at 10 o'clock this morning. That's sports news at 29 minutes past the hour here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, as we're at 68 degrees, reaching for a high of 98. So a big 30-degree swing between now and then. as we continue on here this morning with our obscure holiday of the day. I couldn't decide. There was a bunch of them that were offered, but I picked two today. So sorry, Kat, I threw you a curveball there. First of all, we have National Wine and Cheese Day today. One of the most basic yet classic food and drink pairings is wine and cheese, sipping a tangy red or white between bites of a creamy, nutty cheese on a cracker. One of the most pleasant experiences around, so says the people who started National Wine and Cheese Day. By the way, a wine lover and freelance writer started this whole thing, Jace Shoemaker Galloway. And I'm sure he probably wants me to put that there's a dash in between Shoemaker and Galloway, National Wine and Cheese. Well, we've got some great wines here in North Central Washington. So, yeah, grab some wine, grab some cheese. For me, it'd be 2-buck chuck, some cheddar, and a Ritz cracker. Yeah, except the recalled Ritz, yeah. Oh, shoot. Now, I guess Wheat Thins. We'll have to go with that. All right, it's also, and this seems a little strange on a hot day like this with 98 degrees, but we had, Vanilla Ice Cream Day on Monday, and now we have National Hot Fudge Sundae Day. Interesting, what you learn here when you do some research. In the late 1800s, the ingestion of the then highly popular ice cream soda was considered to be immoral and improper on the Sabbath. Having an ice cream soda on the Sabbath, they said, no, that's not good. So a handful of state governments actually outlawed the consumption of ice cream sodas on Sundays. So ice cream sundae was invented. Now, Sunday, S-U-N-D-A-E instead of S-U-N-D-A-Y, how did that come to be? Well, there was a guy, Chester Platt, in 1892. He tried to trademark Sunday with a Y, and he couldn't because Sunday's a day and it belongs to everybody. So Sunday with an E became his patent for the ice cream sundae. Then you just add hot fudge. Apparently, the first hot fudge sundae was created in 1906 by C.C. Brown's new ice cream parlor on Hollywood Boulevard in Los Angeles. So happy National Hot Fudge Sundae Day. We went a long way to get there, didn't we? All right, today in history is on this date in 1965. Singer-songwriter Bob Dylan rocked the world of folk music when he performed at the Newport Folk Festival in Rhode Island and abandoned his acoustic guitar, picked up an electric guitar. There you see the image there. That was a big thing in 1965. Going electric, Dylan eventually moved rock and folk music closer together. He also infused rock and roll, known then for its mostly lightweight lyrics and a more intellectual, poetic sensibility. I don't know, 1965 to today, you still can't understand what he says. That's me anyway. 1969, President Richard Nixon, at a briefing in Guam for the news media accompanying him on his trip to Asia, discussed at length the future role of the United States and what they should play in Asia and the Pacific region. It became known as the Nixon Doctrine. First time we heard about it on this date in 1969. In 1978, the world's first test tube baby was born, Louise Joy Brown. So I guess we should say happy birthday to Louise. There you see the headlines. That was a big deal. 1978, baby girl born in England. She was 5 pounds, 12 ounces, became much bigger than that as she continued to grow. In 1985 on this date, this was also big news in 1985, Rock Hudson, the quintessential tall, dark, and handsome Hollywood leading man from the 50s and 60s. He made more than 60 films in his career. He came public with the fact that he had AIDS. That was the first really big celebrity that made an announcement like that in 1985. Celebrating birthdays today. There's a woman that did a lot and didn't get credit for it, and she had to fight for it, and so we recognize her today on this 25th day of July. Rosalind Franklin, or Roslyn, was born on this date in 1920. She died just 38 years later of ovarian cancer. She was the co-discoverer of the structure of DNA and for the controversy surrounding the lack of credit given her in her role in the discovery. She provided key insights into DNA structure by capturing photograph 51 of the B form of DNA in 1952. Of course, it was James Watson, Francis Crick, and Maurice Wilkins, a bunch of guys that took the credit for it. They won the Nobel Peace Prize but she took the photo. So give her some credit on her birthday. Estelle Getty, remember her from Golden Girls? That was a weird one because Estelle Getty, they made her the oldest on the show, but she was actually the youngest in real life. Estelle Getty was born on this date in 1923. She died in 2008. Walter Payton. I had a chance to watch him play, and boy, was he sweetness one all the way around. He was born on this date in 1954. He died, unfortunately, in 1999 of an illness. He would have been 64 today. Wouldn't it be nice to still have sweetness? Walter Payton, still around. Now, we do have one birthday of a person that actually is still alive today. Matt LeBlanc. From Friends, and he's had other shows that he's tried to make it happen on TV. It just really hasn't been all that successful, but kind of a funny guy. I like him. Matt LeBlanc is celebrating his 51st birthday today. And if it's your birthday on this 25th day of July, happy birthday to you from all of us here at the NCW Life Channel. And speaking of birthdays and such, if you'd like to tell us about someone having a birthday, you want to share a photo of someone having a birthday, we can announce it here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. You can send us that through our Facebook page. Just look up NCW Life on Facebook. You can do it there. That's probably the best way to do it. You can also do it to news@ncwlife.com, or you can call us too. That old thing works. 888-NCWL is the phone number to call to get us information about birthdays or something else that might be happening in your world. 36 minutes past the hour here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We have Mike Magnati coming up next with Everybody's Entitled to Mike's Opinion. And then also scheduled, we're supposed to be talking about the Wenatchee Wild's youth program. But if not, we'll recap our news stories as well for you coming up as we continue here for this Hump Day Wednesday on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
I have a doctor who knows what they're talking about.
It's just so much more hands-on and friendly than anywhere else I've ever been.
It's really great to walk into somewhere where you feel welcomed and you feel accepted.
We've just been grateful for the care and respect that we've been given there.
And here when I come to visit my doctor, I'm not afraid to ask questions.
It's not just about getting you in and out.
I love my care at CVCH. It's awesome. Give it a try.
The Arbiter of Stoke is a series that highlights a variety of outdoor adventure sports that are available in the Pacific Northwest. I dedicate my time to enjoying this natural playground. The decision is yours. How will you keep your Stoke?
Hi, Justin here, owner of Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere. Club Crow is your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue. We are your one-stop bar and grill, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Looking for a fun night out? Join us at Club Crow Saturday nights. We have live bands to rock the night away. Club Crow is bringing comedy to Cashmere. Check out our Facebook page for upcoming dates. Live jam session first Sunday of every month. Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere, the coolest place in town.
Oh, hey, Nate. What you doing there?
I'm just reading a book.
A book? I didn't even know they made those anymore. Where'd you get it?
Right down the street at Yield Bookshop.
Yield Bookshop? I'm gonna go check it out.
If you're looking for a good book to read or you're in the market for some beautiful handcrafted creations from local artisans, look no further than Yield Bookshop right in the heart of downtown Wenatchee.
So Pam, how's your mom doing?
She's okay. She's struggling. She'd like to stay in her house, and it's getting harder for her to do the daily chores.
What kinds of problems is she having?
Just basic house cleaning, you know, taking care of her house, yard work, taking care of her medicine.
Mm-hmm. It does sound exhausting.
It is very exhausting, and I always worry about her.
Aging in Adult Care can assist you or your loved one to remain comfortably and safely in their own home. Contact them today to start the conversation.
Hey there, Wenatchee. I'm Sean Lee, and I'm inviting you to come down and check out what we're all about at Badger Mountain Brewing.
Great beer, good food, and an endless source of entertainment for the whole family. Our Honey Blonde beer is flying off the shelves at your local grocery store. But I tell you what, it's even better on tap. And while you're here, try our signature Badger sauce with one of our delicious meals. Whether you're in the mood for a wrap, salad, pizza, or nachos, Badger Mountain Brewing has what you're looking for.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. There's lots of theories about why people do what they do. And yep, I have one myself. Now, there's often 3 reasons for behavior. Particularly in our relationships, what we do is that we first do what we think will get us what we want. Second, we do what we feel justified in doing. And 3, we do what we're willing to risk the consequences for. But sometimes, though, those consequences are more than we bargained for. Before you do anything drastic or unpleasant in your relationship, be sure you fully understand the risks involved and what could happen if something goes sour. Believe me, that's how people have come to meet me, both in my job as a cop and my job as a marriage counselor. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion. Am I making sense? Yeah. Okay, all right. Sometimes I don't know.
Vominos junk haulers are pleased to announce they've added moving services to their list of ways to make your life easier. Vominos Moving Service. No move is too big or small. In fact, Vominos does it all. Vominos employees are experienced at moving your home, office, business, and storage. They'll carefully load and unload your belongings. And for the do-it-yourselfers, Vominos also rents trucks and cargo trailers. Call Vominos Junk Haulers and Moving Service today to schedule your free estimate.
Boating is a great way to bring family and friends together. At Bob File Boats and Motors, they have the boats for any lifestyle: fishing, wakeboarding, or just relaxing on the water. Buying a new boat is more affordable than you might think at Bob File Boats and Motors. Online at bobfile.com or on Sunset Highway in East Wenatchee.
Bob File Boats and Motors, we're dealing. Bob File's gonna make you smile.
We're here to celebrate every season with award-winning dining, full-service spa, and 170 waterfront guest rooms. Come experience our tradition of hospitality at Campbell's Resort on Lake Chelan.
When you call Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, you get 35 years of experience and customer service in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's friendly staff strongly believe in repairing before replacing and service all major brands of HVAC units. Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning is your local, independent, trained comfort specialists, proudly serving all of North Central Washington. Call 884-6444 today.
42 minutes past the hour here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for this Wednesday, 25th of July, 2018, along with Steve Hare. I'm Eric Grandstrom here on the NCW Life Channel. Looking for a high of 97 today, or 98 today, after a high yesterday of 97, 98 again tomorrow, 96 on Friday, upper 90s again through the weekend, and maybe 101 by Monday. So
no relief in sight.
Not at all. So be careful out there, and especially when you're near water. Be careful. We'll talk more about that in a moment. The fire hazard is extremely high right now, and here we had another one last night, Steve.
That's right, and right now we're kind of tracking the fire that's burning currently out at the Turtle Rock area. Started just off the highway there at 297, which was closed for a period of time last night. It has since reopened, but that fire again continues to smolder and creep up that hillside there across from Highway 97, Highway 297 in Douglas County. Just got an update. The crews are just emerging now from their morning briefing. We have a total of 150 firefighters on this fire right now, representing Douglas County Fire Districts 2, East Wenatchee area, and Douglas County District 4, Arundel. They're all there now, along with DNR, the Department of Natural Resources, and the Bureau of Land Management, also lending some assistance there as well. Again, that fire continues to creep. It's not actively burning fire in the sense that it's raging out of control, but then the behavior this morning, during the early morning hours at least, during these calmer conditions, more of a creeping and smoldering effect. There are no homes under immediate threat. However, Sheriff Kevin Morris tells us that there is one home under a level 1 evacuation advisory right now at the top of the plateau. That's in the case of that fire breaking over the ridge and into those wheat fields up there on the plateau, but that is not the case at this point in time. Just a level 1 evacuation for one residence up in that area. Again, they're estimating the fire's size at about 200 acres. They're throwing a lot of stuff at it this morning, folks, including aerial support. I've been told that they have 6 fixed-wing aircraft and 2 choppers that are going to be dipping from the Columbia River and dropping water onto that fire this morning. So there's going to be a lot of increased activity on the river, Eric, and as we well know, it's a looky-loo situation where some boaters get a little too close to where those buckets are dipping out of the river. So authorities are asking to have you boaters out there, please avoid those areas where the helicopters access their water for their buckets.
I was doing some research here at a fire a couple of weekends ago, and those buckets, depending on the manufacturer of those buckets, I was wondering how much water do they carry in those buckets, and it said anywhere from 500 gallons to 2,000 gallons of water in those larger buckets. I'm sure these helicopters are probably carrying the smaller amount, but I'm telling you what, 500 gallons of water, that drops on your head, that's not a friendly thing.
Well, I did a little firefighting in a previous life. I still have my old firefighting coat from back in the early 60s, and it has a big yellow stripe down the back. Not that I'm a coward, mind you, but that's the color of borate.
Oh, from being dropped on.
Yeah, I got dropped on. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So the last fire I responded to, believe me.
Yeah, as you mentioned too, up on the top of the hill there, they've got some wheat fields, they've got some cattle, they've got some homes if it goes that far. The good news is, Steve, as far as the forecast is concerned, not much wind to speak of. Northwest winds today 5 to 8 miles an hour. Tonight 6 to 10 from the northwest, continuing northwest tomorrow. Maybe up to 8 miles an hour is all. So that's really good news for firefighters that are taking care of this Turtle Rock fire right now, just burning in some shrub and stubble and some sage that's on that hillside right there.
For those of you who suffer from allergies and such from the smoke from the fire, right now the Wenatchee Valley is fairly clear of smoke, but again the shifting winds during the day could change that. So if you're allergic to that type of contaminant, you might want to limit your outdoor activities.
Yeah, Kat, can we go back to the Valley View cam from the cross cam and get that perspective of the smoke? Yeah, with the northwest winds today, that should push it over the Badger Mountain to the right of the screen there and probably won't impact us too much here in Wenatchee Valley proper. But of course,
those prevailing westerlies will probably push it more towards the plateau.
Right. But yeah, it certainly could happen. We certainly have our fingers crossed as far as the wind is concerned with that Turtle Rock fire this morning. And again, great job by firefighters last night jumping on that quickly.
They did.
And estimated acreage right now is how much?
About 200 plus acres.
Okay.
That's the early estimate right now, until they get the better mapping and everything. But they got plenty of resources on it. Go at it, but please be safe out there.
So other news today in the outdoor rec world, you were talking about boaters on the waterways. Boaters on the waterways above Rocky Reach Dam can once again retain adult summer Chinook salmon. Starting today, the numbers over Priest Rapids Dam as far as the Fish and Wildlife are concerned, happier totals now, so they think the run is strong enough to establish runs for the future as far as broodstock is concerned and hatchery fish returning to the hatcheries, and so they've reopened the ability for anglers to catch and retain adult summer Chinook above Wells Dam above Rocky Reach Dam to Wells Dam, and then coming up a week from now, August 1st, they will open up above the Wells Dam of the Brewster Pool, which was good news for those that had to cancel the Brewster Salmon Derby. Now that Derby has been put back on, and that'll be that first full weekend of August. You can go to brewstersalmonderby.com to sign up for that. But what a scramble for those folks. You get all these sponsors, all these prizes, everything gathered up, and then they shut the fishery down 12 days later, they open the fishery back up.
So what do you do?
That's a lot of frustration, I can
I would
imagine.
imagine so, but I know where you're going to be this evening.
This evening? No, I'm going to be home
You're going to
this
be home?
evening.
You're not
I
gonna
was
go out
I was
on the
fishing. I was fishing last night. So Marion and I went out and we were able to catch a couple of more sockeye salmon. We were out on Sunday too. We launched at Hydro Park and ran all the way up the river to the base of Rocky Reach Dam. As we got back, it was just about dark, and so Marion, I have her stay in the boat. She kind of goes around in circles while we wait for our place in line at the boat launch to take the boat out of the water. Well, there was a couple of boats that were in line, and then this guy with his jet ski comes zooming in high speed while I'm in the parking lot getting the truck and trailer and coming around the loop to back in. And this guy zooms into the beach, comes crashing up on the shoreline with his ski-doo, and then goes in the parking lot, gets in his black, rather new GMC pickup truck, large-size pickup truck with a black canopy, and then has a heck of a time backing his little ski-doo trailer up. Almost ran it over, jackknifed it 4 times.
Was there an impairment of some sort?
I won't say one way or another. I kind of thought so at the time.
Yeah.
But I was just worried about the guy wrecking his stuff. So he finally gets down, gets the trailer in the water, gets the ski-doo on it, and then is obviously upset because of what has occurred, and it's taken him a long time. And Marion, meanwhile, is out in the water going, "Come on, let's go!" And so the guy, in a big hurry, races out of the parking lot at Hydro Park, races up across all the speed bumps up to the highway, and then peels out, heading some direction on Sunset Highway. Now, he left behind a few things. So if you know of someone who has a pretty new ski-doo and a black GMC with a black canopy, this is the front hood off of his ski-doo that fell off at one of the speed bumps. He was going way too fast on. And then also, really nice ski-doo life vest.
Okay.
So this came flying off of his seat, probably because he got in a hurry and wanted to get out of there and was not having a good conclusion to his evening. So if you know anybody that is missing these things, contact me here at the NCW Life Channel, and I'll get them back to him.
It's kind of like what I had driving back into town from the fire this morning. Coming along there, just at the far end, coming across the Wenatchee River Bridge. I'm in back of a cement truck.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and the thing was turning, but it was also dropping its load out the back.
Oh no!
As I'm driving behind him. So, yeah.
That's why you give them plenty of distance.
Little fresh cement there on the road this morning.
Was that on Highway 2?
Highway 2 coming into town. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So if you see
I
that,
tried to pass him to try to like this, you know, but he was oblivious to it.
I always thought when I was a kid we'd go on the highway, and I wish I had like a little electric reader board that I could make little notes on and say, hey, you know, your dog's tied to your bumper or something.
I remember as a kid.
That's Vacation. That's a movie.
I remember as a kid, well, we used to actually do that. We used to have the old station wagons where the back seat faced the rear.
Oh yeah.
And you sit back there and make faces at the motorists.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
My dad used to love that.
Yeah. Yeah, the one and only time I've been to Mexico, we went to La Paz when I was 5 years old, and we rented one of those station wagons that had the rear facing, and of course they rolled the window down just a little bit in the back so that we could get some fresh air as we're in Mexico. It was December. We decided to take a drive because the ladies wanted to see the cactus. And so we're up in the middle of the desert somewhere, and all the kids, and I remember this vividly, I'm 5 years old, wearing a sombrero. And of course the exhaust fumes are coming in through the back window where we are, and I'm feeling not so good. And so I tell my dad, I think I'm gonna be sick. And my dad says, just throw up in your sombrero. So, yeah.
That's why they call them 10-gallon hats. You know.
So I came back from Mexico without a sombrero.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh my God.
Yeah. So there you go.
Was it the Grandstrom family or the Griswolds? I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think it was shortly after that we became the Griswolds, and we always have an interesting adventure. We will take a break here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, 55 minutes past the hour. See if we can put a plug in this jug, so to speak, as we continue on.
It's leaking.
For this Wednesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll have more right after this.
Eastern Washington. It's a great place to call home and a great time to own a home. It's the ideal place to lay down roots for your family and your future. Gisa Credit Union thinks Eastern Washington is a great place to own a home too. That's why we offer all kinds of home loans with personal attention every step of the way. We're your home. For home loans, we're Gisa Credit Union.
Dear Mary Maids, please clean the kitchen, and the cabinets, and floors, and the chairs. And I wish you could clean the dog. Colin is now feeding himself. Thanks, Megan.
Hi, Megan. No worries. We got it all cleaned up. Let's hope Colin gets past the spaghetti flinging stage soon. Till then, we've got you covered. See you next time, Mary Maids.
Looking for a hands-on, high-demand job? Now is the perfect time to get trained for a career in manufacturing. Washington currently has a shortage of skilled tradespeople, and retirements are making room for more. The machining program at Wenatchee Valley College is designed to give students the foundation to excel in this precision industry. Don't wait, there are only 15 spots left. A 2-year degree and a 1-year certificate are available. Learn more at wvc.edu/machining.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together, we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
The azure skies of North Central Washington casting a wonderful glow upon the valley floor. That is the Wenatchee Valley. Thanks for joining us here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, along with Steve Herrick. I'm Eric Grandstrom, and the forecast, another hot one. It's just, you're going to be sweaty and gross if you're outside today. That's pretty much it.
Speak for yourself, Eric.
Yeah, well, yeah, me. 98 for our high today. We are, let's see, I need to update this and see if this is still accurate here. 70. Yeah, I kind of figured it was a little warmer than the 68 we had here. 70 degrees, and because I can't see, relative humidity, not bad, 40% right now. So that's also good for firefighters. Lows in the upper 60s to around 70, high temperatures in the upper 90s, maybe ticking the triple digits now, they say, by Monday. Let's take a look around the valley at our cameras here this morning. Caitlin, if you would, thank you, provided by Sky-Fi. There you see the smoke in the distance. That's from the Turtle Rock fire that we've been talking about this morning, and we'll have more coverage on that coming up tonight in the evening news with Grant Olson at 5, 6, and 10 here on the NCW Life channel.
We can see the effects of the inversion right now on that.
Yeah, it just kind of goes up and then just sits like a mushroom right now over.
Which is good for the fire activity because it kind of suffocates it. If you can't breathe, neither can the fire.
Yeah, speaking of fire activity, we've been watching these camera views this morning thanks to Sky-Fi provided by Localtel. And we saw active fire kind of creeping and burning, and through the smoke, I think maybe just a few flames here and there that you can see. But as you mentioned, Steve, they're going to get some aerial support today in a big way to put a quick quash on this particular smoldering fire here in North Central Washington, so that's good news.
It extends up the hillside there, and again, we only have one residence up there at the top of the plateau, apparently.
Just a level one.
Level 1, so it's not immediately threatened.
Right. Just to let you know that there is a fire in the area. Camera 3, where are we going? Back to Cashmere here this morning. We swung back around, looking up towards Mount Stewart, and yeah, talk about crystal clear blue skies. Absolutely gorgeous as we look up towards the enchantments and the shouldering hills in the foreground. gorgeous day, especially if you're heading up into the higher elevations. Be careful though, glissading. We've done the warnings about glissading, where you slide down
the Asgard Pass.
Yeah,
They've lost a
chutes
couple
and stuff,
of guys.
and just be careful about that. Camera 4, as we'll go back up to, oh sorry, Kat, I'm a little ahead of you here. Back to Manson.
You've got to have it on a track back there. You know?
We need to get Kaylin a motorized chair in the control room there. But there you go, looking at the slide ridge at Manson in the distance and the south shore of Lake Chelan. Water tower camera there. Just another reminder that Tumwater Canyon is closed today on Highway 2 west of Leavenworth. They are replacing a culvert. The detour for passenger vehicles is through Plain on the Chumstick Highway. No trucks though, so all semi-traffic has to go over Blewett Snoqualmie if you need to get to the west side.
Good news today too. Evening farmers market at the Pybus.
Oh, there we go. All right, that's happy news for a Wednesday.
Yeah.
As we continue on here, again, reminder, we have news tonight, 5, 6, and 10 right here. Have a good day, everybody.